Hi folks, jumping on to explain what creates a fantastic session in Just Start Fitness. So we went through what we call our non-negotiables on how you can get the most out of your time every session that you're in here and every experience that you have when you're being coached by myself or any of the team at JSF. So what we want to talk about first is hydration and sleep quality. So hydration, whether you are coming in first thing in the morning, maybe mid-morning or later into the evening or afternoon, we always want to make sure we have some form of hydration in our bodies. It will allow us to train better, to move better, to be more alert, for our brains and bodies to function better. In the morning, I know it can be a wee bit difficult sometimes from a time perspective, but that can be something like drinking even a half pint of water, just sipping it on your way into the gym, or even if it's just a bottle of water, sipping that on your way into the gym, just to make sure that we're getting the body hydrated and ready to exercise so it can perform properly. What I want to talk about then is sleep quality. So sleep quality potentially is for our members that are getting up and coming to us in the morning. Sleep quality as a whole is really important, but especially for the members that are coming in 6, 7 a.m. in the mornings, you really want to make sure that you're getting at least 7 hours sleep each night. Now, I know that can be difficult sometimes, but really prioritizing that will allow you to come in feeling more refreshed, more energized, and more alert for your training session. It also helps with recovery from the previous session as well, so really prioritizing that is massive. From there, the auto-regulating, that is us basically checking where you're at for that day. So if you've had a busy weekend, if you've maybe been out, had a few glasses of wine, and that's carried over into your Monday or Tuesday morning session, we want to know where your energy's at. Sometimes just coming in, getting through the movement prep, breaking a sweat, getting the body moving can have such a profound impact on giving us a great session and make us feel so much better than what we actually thought we would perform during that session. If something's not feeling right in the body, if you have a bit of an ache or stiffness or tightness, communicate that to us as well. That is what we're here for, to make your training safe, effective, and enjoyable. Reps in reserve. Now this is so important when it comes to strength training. Understanding this is an absolute game changer. RIR for short. Anytime we are performing a working set, whether it's build or strength, depending on what movement you're doing, we always want to ensure that we're working within that 2 to 4 reps in reserve. So what that means is if you finish a set and your coach asks you how many more reps could you have done at that weight for that movement before you couldn't do any more reps, and you said 2, 3, or 4, that's how we know the weight stays the same. If you say I could have done 5 plus, could have done 6, 7, etc., then we know we need to make the weight slightly heavier for the following session or the following set. So for example, if you're on a hex bar deadlift and you deadlifted 60 kilos for 5 reps and your coach asks, how many more reps could you have done at that? And you say, I had 5 reps, we then would increase the weight by 2.5 kilos total. If you said something like 8 or 9 reps, we would maybe look at increasing it by 5 to 10 kilos. If you said 2 to 4 reps in reserve, we are bang on with that weight. We always want to keep it sub-maximal, so we're never going to failure, and we're always keeping some quality reps in reserve and building muscle and strength in a safe and effective way. Really important that we get our heads around that. It can be a wee bit overwhelming at the start, but once you really grasp it, it'll transform your training. It will help make it so much more specific and benefit you so much more. Tracking numbers, strength isn't linear. So important with our strength training that we're seeing where them numbers are at. If we want to build new muscle, new strength, new physical gains, we have to know where them numbers are at. It's not enough just to come in and guess each week. We really want to have a good understanding where we're at, and it's such a brilliant way to track progress, especially if you're doing our performance days and just seeing where you start. We have members start here deadlifting the bar, and 1-2 years later they're maybe doing 60, 70, 80 kilos for certain movements on that bar. And it's so important that we understand where we're at, and we can then measure progress. And if the weight is going up in the bar, it's a really good sign that we're moving better, we're building better functionality in our bodies, and we're getting stronger, fitter, and moving in an all-round better capacity. Ideally, when you're training, we always want to look for kind of 45 to 90 seconds rest. With our build movements, it'll probably be slightly at the lower end of the spectrum here, so we're 45 to 60 seconds. With our strength lifts, when you've exhausted your strength nervous system, we will take a wee bit longer. ensuring you're taking adequate rest by checking the clock, whether it's upstairs or downstairs, so important as well, just to ensure that we're getting enough rest, but then at the same time making the most out of our time during the session as well. Core brace tension, abs on. If you hear any of this language, always think back to what we spoke about. Pelvis, rib cage, breathing into that core. That is one of the most game-changing things I can ever teach anybody, or we can teach anybody at JSF, is ensuring them core muscles work when you're lifting. It keeps your body safe, it builds better strength, it builds better posture, it builds better core strength. It is absolutely game-changing, always having that presence, that awareness of mind of bracing them core muscles tight. Warm-up sets is needed, so depending on what you're lifting, and your coach will guide you through this. If it's a strength lift, we usually work between 1 and 3 warm-up sets to get the body ready for the main set. If it's a build, we usually just go through 1 warm-up set of a weight that's kind of 50 to 60% of your working set. Warm-up sets, I cannot stress this enough, are equally as important, if not more important, than working sets. They allow us to get in a great position, so when we start training, the muscles, the movement patterns, they're all functioning together and working as one. So when we start training, we can train so much better, get so much more out of the movement, and have the body performing in a safe way. Bring a notebook. Phones are fine as well. I prefer a notebook. It just allows us to write things down. We spend a lot of time on our phones, so having that notebook, that hard copy, can be so good for allowing us to see and measure the athletic performance, the improvement in what we're doing, and see how that increases over time and improves over time. This is an example of what it looks like. As we go through our new training blocks, we'll always explain how to write your programs down and then what to expect as you come in for your sessions. And this is definitely one of the most important things I've ever realized when it comes to training. Be present. When you're in here, we want to make this the best hour of your day. We want to make this the best experience you have in that day, where you come in, you forget about any stresses you have outside of here, work, family life. You come in, you move, you train well, you exercise well, you lift weights, you build strength, you build empowerment, you build confidence, and you look after your body and your mind. It can be so transformational when you come in here just to think, okay, I'm checked in now, I'm here from a training session. Let's get the body and mind linked together as one, and let's start moving. Let's breathe, let's train hard, let's train well, let's get as much out of this session as possible. These are what we've always referenced before as our non-negotiables, guys. They're an absolute game changer when you're aware of them. Like anything, like training, for example, repetition, doing the basics over and over and over is what provides the biggest return of investment with your health, your well-being, your physical capacity, your mental resilience, all of that. If there is any questions there on this, please don't be afraid to reach out to myself or any of the team, and we will get back in touch with you as soon as.